Hello, welcome back to my video channel. In the previous video, we discussed about digestion as a part 1 video. So in that video, what we discussed, in that video we discussed the introduction, definition of digestion, types of digestion, parts of digestive system and balanced diet. This topic covered as a part 1 video. Okay, so if you are interested, please do watch that video so that video is helpful to understand this video. Okay, and have done part 2 video as well as digestion of carbohydrates. Okay, this is important one, they may ask in the examination. So this one as a part 2 video. If you are interested, please go through that video. And now this video is on digestion of proteins as a part 3 video. Okay, now before starting with the actual topic, let us know what are proteins here. In the lower classes we may have the idea that proteins are the components of the food. Okay, that is the first point. And what is the importance of the protein? Why we have to take the proteins? Because proteins helps in the growth and development of the body and in all the tissues in our body such as muscle, blood, bone, skin and hair are made up of protein. Okay, and even many hormones and enzymes are either a protein or it may be a protein derivatives. Okay, and also the one more important point is that 1/5 of an adult's total body weight is protein. So what we can say, the protein is found in every cell for our body. Okay, and these proteins, so what are these proteins are, what they are made up of? Okay, and these proteins actually contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, and they are distinguished from carbohydrates and fats by the presence of nitrogen. Okay, and and these proteins is synthesized from a basic units called amino acids. Okay, the chain of amino acids forms the protein. Okay, so chain of amino acids, what is that mean? Like this. Okay, the chain of amino acids, think this is an amino acid. Okay, this is one amino acid and this is another amino acid, this is another amino acid, like this. Okay, the chain of amino acids actually forms a protein. That if you have to say definition, a protein is a molecule made up of chain of amino acids which are joined to each other by a linkage. This linkage is called as peptide linkage. Okay, or you can say it is a peptide bond. Okay, those are called as proteins. And these proteins like if two amino acids linked by a peptide linkage, okay, if there is only two amino acids linked by a peptide linkage or peptide bond, it actually forms the dipeptide. Okay, or if 3 amino acids are linked by a peptide bond, then it forms the tripeptide. And if protein consists of hundreds of such linkages, okay, hundreds of such linkages, that actually forms the polypeptides. Okay, so this is about the proteins introduction part. Now we know that our food is consists of proteins. The question is that now how this body, our body is going to digest the protein, and it gives the energy for the growth and development of the body, right? So it is very curious to know how the digestion of protein is going to occur in our body. And as I mentioned in the previous video that like we know this, right? So I am just repeating once again, because if you are new to this video, so that you have to understand, right? That is the intention of my video. At least you should gain some knowledge by this. So oral cavity, buccal cavity, we will discuss what happens in the buccal cavity, what happens to the proteins in the buccal cavity, how it is going to digest, and then we are going to discuss in the stomach and then in the small intestine. This is the very important parts of the digestive system where the digestion of the proteins are going to occur. Now we will discuss how, in particularly how it is going to happen. So in short term, remember this, in buccal cavity, in stomach and in small intestine. Okay, so first we will study in buccal cavity. In buccal cavity, and I mean in oral cavity, saliva has no proteases, enzymes, hence there is no digestion of protein in the buccal cavity. Okay, so you have to like ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೀ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇನ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ ಬಕಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ, ಇನ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟಿನ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಬಕಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೋಟೀಸ್ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್, ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬಕಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. Okay, very easy and simple. Now the second, in stomach, the gastric juice has two proteases, okay, that is pepsin, renin, and these pepsin and renin are going to activated by HCl. That means that these will be there in the inactive form. When the HCl is comes and activates this, they will convert it into active form. So the first one, we will discuss about the first one, that is pepsin, okay. In the stomach secretes pepsin in an inactive form that is called as pepsinogen, and that is activated by HCl. So you can see the equation here, the pepsinogen, okay, converted into pepsin by the action of HCl under the pH that is 1.5 to 2, okay. And this activated pepsin along with HCl hydrolyzes proteins into proteases, peptones and polypeptides, okay. So that's how the protein is going to digest here. See, proteins, okay, foodalirtakanta proteins by the action of pepsin under the pH 1.5 to 2, it is converted into proteases, peptones and polypeptides. The protein, it is a macromolecule, a full whole big content is break down into a small proteases, okay, nothing but enzymes, and then peptones and then polypeptides, okay. The series of hundreds of monomeric units of amino acids forms the polypeptides. Like this small units agi breakdown agutte, that's how the protein is going to digested. So that's about the pepsin in the stomach. The next gastric juice, the gastric juice has two proteases. One we discussed just now, that is pepsin. The next one is renin. Now we will see the action of or role of renin. So the renin, it has another name called as chymosin, okay, it has another name called as chymosin. Remember, so erdu name, if you remember both the names, that is very helpful, because in examination any one they may ask, okay. In long answer it is fine, you can use any one name. So this chymosin or renin is secreted as prorenin, that means that in the inactive form, okay, and it is activated by HCl. And the active renin acts on milk proteins, okay, it is going to act on a milk protein. The milk protein here is casein, okay, and it is converted into paracasein. And then again this paracasein converted into calcium paracasinate, or you can say just curdling of milk, okay, which actually prevents the rapid flow of milk into the duodenum. It is then hydrolyzes by pepsin. So pepsin hydrolysis hengagodu, the same equation here, the proteins, that is milk protein, okay, by the action of the pepsin hydrolyzes into proteases, peptones and polypeptides. So here, so make you to understand in the equation, so I just given the equations here. If you remember this equation, you can write it very easily, the very easy one. Just here, prorenin. So gastric juice ಅಲ್ಲಿ second one renin ಬಗ್ಗೆ study ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. So it will be in the inactive form, okay, inactive form, that is prorenin. By the action of HCl under the pH of 1.5 to 2, it is converted into renin, which is an active form, okay. Then this activated renin acts on casein. This is a protein, okay, it is a milk protein, okay, idu milk alli present irutte casein anna protein, okay. So converted into a paracasein, and again paracasein is converted into calcium paracasinate by the presence of calcium and pH 1.5 to 2, and again this calcium paracasinate by the action of pepsin, okay, this is the protein now. So the pepsin by the action of pepsin converted into proteases, peptones and polypeptones. Equation idu kuda same ide, okay, as like of this one. Now that's about the in stomach, okay, the two things, renin and pepsin. In stomach the food becomes liquefied and it is acidic. This is called as chyme. This is the 1 mark question. What is chyme, they may ask. In the stomach the food becomes liquefied and it is acidic, that is called as chyme, okay. So we are moving on to the last part, that is third part, that is in small intestine. We will now look at what happens, how the digestion of protein is going to take place, what are all the enzymes are present in the small intestine. So by the help of enzymes, how the proteins are going to digested. So now we will focus on the small intestine. In small intestine there are two juices. Okay, digestion of carbohydrates. If you watch the digestion of carbohydrates video, there I have already mentioned there will be two types of juices, that is pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Okay, in stomach there are two. Here now we are studying about the digestion of proteins, so we will focus on that. Pancreatic juice. Okay, short formally I have wrote here in short form so that you can remember very easily. So short form alle ille nimage key points na bardidini. So pancreatic juice, what are the enzymes that are involved in digestion of proteins in the small intestine? That too from pancreatic juice are trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase. And intestinal juice have tripeptidase, dipeptidase and aminopeptidase. Very easy. Okay. Now we will discuss the first one, that is tripepsin. Tripepsin, actually it is an activated form, but it will be present in the inactivated form. It is going, or it will be secreted in as a inactive in the inactive form, that is trypsinogen. Okay, and it is activated by a very important enzyme that is called as enterokinase. Remember, these are in competitive exam they will ask, they may ask as a 1 mark question. Okay, it is activated by enterokinase. The active trypsin hydrolyzes proteins into proteases, peptones and polypeptides. Okay, this is how the digestion of protein is going to takes place by the enzyme enterokinase. Okay, trypsin. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ equation ಇದೆ, equation ಇಂದ ನೀವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. Trypsinogen, which is an inactive form, converted into active form, that is trypsin, by the enzyme enterokinase under the pH 7.1 to 8.2, and then acts on proteins. This trypsin acts on proteins and it is hydrolyzes into proteases, peptones and polypeptones. What is this hydrolysis? Hydrolysis is nothing but action of water. Water is, it is some kind of chemical reaction where this water is going to break down the chemical bond between the molecules. Okay, that's how the hydrolysis is going to take place, and they will convert it into smaller pieces. Okay, that is actually called as hydrolysis. Okay, now we will move on to the this is about the trypsin. Now we will move on to the chymotrypsin. Okay, I guess this is visible. Okay, chymotrypsin actually, which will be present in the inactive form, that is chymotrypsinogen. Okay, it is activated by trypsin into chymotrypsin. Okay, listen carefully, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಪ್ರೊನೌನ್ಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಿಸನ್ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ. Chymotrypsinogen, which is an inactive form, converted into active form called as chymotrypsin by the presence of trypsin. Okay, in the pH 7.1 to 8.2, and after that this chymotrypsin acts on hydrolyzes proteins into proteases, peptones and polypeptides. Now the next one, the last third one, that is carboxypeptidase from the pancreatic juice. So this carboxypeptidase will be secreted in the inactive form as a procarboxypeptidase by the action of trypsin, converted into active form called as carboxypeptidase. Okay, and then this carboxypeptidase here acts on polypeptides and converts into tripeptides, dipeptides and amino acids. Okay, that's about the action of the role of pancreatic juice, that is trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase. Now we will move on to the next one, that is action of intestinal juice. Okay, action of intestinal juice. See here in short form I have written here, in intestinal juice there are three types of enzymes are present, that is tripeptidase, dipeptidase, aminopeptidase. Tripeptidase, dipeptidase, aminopeptidase. Okay, so now we will discuss one by one. So this intestinal juice contains aminopeptidases, tripeptidases and dipeptidases. Aminopeptidases converts proteases, peptones and polypeptides into amino acids. Okay, this one aminopeptidase converts, which are formed here. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ previously ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. So here proteases, peptones and polypeptides formation ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, so those all will converted into tripeptidase, dipeptidates and amino acids. Okay, so these are the smaller molecules of the micromolecules of the proteins. Okay, so if they are in the smaller molecule, the body can absorb those. Okay, what is the intention of the digestion? The breakdown of larger particles into smaller particles so that body can absorb. So this is what here it is going to happen. Next one, the peptides, okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ spelling we have to look very carefully. This is tripeptidase, okay. The tripeptidase, an enzyme, okay, acts and converts into amino acids, and dipeptides converted into amino acids by the action of dipeptidase, okay. So pH is same 7.1 to 8.2, which is basic, okay. So, and we came to the important point, and one more question, and also very important, they may ask in the long answer also you should have to write. The end products of protein digestion are amino acids which are ready for the absorption, okay. So one more question, what are the end products of protein digestion? The end product of protein digestion are amino acids, okay. So now the quickly I will say some of the hints to remember how we can remember the digestion of protein. So itara moor idana nenpitkolli, in buccal cavity, in stomach, in small intestine, what happens in three these parts, okay, ad nenpitkobeku. So then next move on to the first page. We know that there is no enzymes, so there is no digestion of the proteins here. In stomach we know that gastric juice will be present. So there are two gastric juice, that is pepsin and renin. So other two action ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. And then coming to in small intestine, we have two juices, that is pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. So pancreatic enzymes ಯಾವು, intestinal enzymes ಯಾವು ಅಂತಂದೇಳಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಲಾಂಗ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಗೆ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ನ ಬರಿಬೋದು. I tried my level best to make you to understand and easy to remember. I'm hoping that this video is helpful for you, and if you like this video and if you like this video, please do subscribe to my video, so that if you like this video, please comment and share, so that that will give us an encouragement to do the more videos. And also in the next video I am going to discuss about the digestion of lipids or fats, okay. We will discuss about that in another video. Thank you for your support. Thank you guys, all the best.